Thank you, Congressman Jordan. I'm so pleased to be with my colleagues today, be down on the border with them visiting this part of the border. I'm pleased with the roundtable we just had and appreciate the ranchers, the law enforcement, the policy advisors, the Border Patrol agents, representatives that were participating in that roundtable, give us some advice. Let me tell you, I've been down to the border many, many times. Been down to this border when it's been under control, operational control, I would say, and then coming back here over the last day or so and seeing something that's horrific to see. It's not humane. The policies of this administration are inhumane. This president must own the catastrophe he has created, this human suffering and misery that he has created. 2 weeks ago, he appointed Kamala Harris to be his point person on this issue. She's crisscrossed the country, taken holidays. She can't be bothered to come visit the border to see what her administration's policies have wrought. Let me tell you a story. 2 quick stories, then I'll tell you how you get out of this. Number one, small community in my state, Gila Bend, which is the number 2 right now for immigrants through that Tucson sector. Small community. No social services whatsoever. They get a phone call. They're going to bring 16 people into that community. That doesn't sound like a lot to you. But here's a community that has no hospital, no social service safety net whatsoever. They can't even rent vans to transport them into Phoenix so they can get help. They have to use personal vehicles and get volunteers to drive these 16 people which were all 6, there were 6 family units, 5 from Venezuela, 1 from Chile. There's no guarantee that's not going to happen again. And if you think, if you live in an interior community, it won't happen to you, it will happen. People don't stay on the border. They're being released by the thousands every day into the United States interior. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I was down in the Arizona border in a place called 3 Points near San Miguel. We saw there were 16 people on the other side of the border. The Border Patrol was trying to keep them in there because these are runners. These are drug runners. We didn't see anything else that day, but that night a group of 112 was apprehended, surrendered. In that group, the oldest person was 94 years old. 94. The youngest, 4 years old. No parents, no guardians, no siblings, no aunt and uncle, no cousins, no grandparents. Somebody put that 4-year-old into the hands of the ruthless sex, drug, and human traffickers that we call the cartels. The cartels are controlling our borders. No person crosses this river without the cartels knowing about it and approving of it. And the same is said on the nearly 2,300 miles of this border. There are some things that need to happen to bring this under control and get our nation back, quite frankly. The first one is this president has got to stand up and say, no, you cannot come into our country. We will send you back. You must come legally. It is his voice that said during the campaign he wanted to see a, quote, surge on the border, close quote. He must take that stand. Then the second thing he must do, he must reinstitute the MPP program. He needs to get back to Mexico. That's why the president of Mexico says this is Biden's mess. It is Biden's mess. He needs to re-engage with the Northern Triangle states of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. And he needs to make sure that they're engaged just like they were in the PACE program. He needs to rescind the $1,400 per illegal alien incentive from the COVID package. And quite frankly, what he could do that would be incredibly effective is to instruct the asylum or the immigration judges to not worry about the asylum backlog. There are hundreds of thousands of those people already in the country that are waiting for a court hearing. Guess what? They're not coming back to court. But we have people on the border today who come in across because of the promise of asylum that this administration has given. You can establish those courts, they can grant due process, and remove people who have fraudulent claims, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 90% of people who make an asylum claim. You do those things, is maybe a crime organization, but it is a business organization, and they respond, and we can restore order on the border.